Edgy boys, edgy girls, and edgy all points in between. Edrunners, transhumans, non-humans, AIs, mercenaries, console cowboys, and amoral psycho-capitalists, along with curious wine moms. Welcome. I told you I was ill. This is Deep Fake. No relation. No relation. No relation. No relation. Coming at you asynchronously via the naughty net. Come for the contracts and drugs, stay for the bestiality porn. Bestiality porn. It's the Darknet download. Corona-chan is, of course, dominating the headlines. And even in our little sort of black market corner of the internet, in our business, which tends to be kind of illicit, it's having an effect on our economy just in the same way that it is on the macro economy. After all, we interact with people, unless you're a net runner or don't exist, like me, and that means that you're gonna be exposed to the disease, particularly if you're shooting someone in the face. That tends to spray body fluids and all those little viral particles everywhere, so be sure and wash your hands after every assassination. There's no cure in the offing. Antiviral drugs that we do have do seem to have limited effectiveness and are too expensive to give to everyone. So what can we do about this? There's no vaccine, likely, until next year. Even with advances in technology, producing that vaccine will take some time once it's found. So what can we do? High tech to the rescue? Well, if you're extremely wealthy, yes. Azo Biotech is producing a nanocloud which is supposed to intercept the virus even before it enters the body and then to kill it while it's in the body. This is cutting-edge experimental nanotech, so it's not available to everyone or anyone outside the 1%, but we have it on good authority that certain corporate heads based out of Night City are about to be sent their doses by Azo Biotech, and it would be a terrible shame if someone were to be paid an awful lot of money to intercept that nanotech, return a sample to a rival biotech company, and to distribute the rest amongst the poor people in the combat zone. Wouldn't it? That would be terrible. That would be terrible. South Korea. Things are not going particularly well for the ocean-going cruise experience. A brand new liner, the Crystal World, has had problems ever since the get-go. It was completed rapidly using new technologies, which drew a lot of media attention. It was booked solid for its maiden voyage, and then there was an outbreak of the coronavirus. The last few passengers have now been evacuated, upon which point the vessel was immediately invaded by a South Korean cult called the Family of the Abandoned Princess, if I'm translating that correctly, who have taken over the ship, taken the skeleton crew hostage, and set sail for international waters. They claim to have the vessel rigged with explosives and to be more than willing to execute members of the crew and staff in order to make their point. Indeed, they already have. The group behind the liner, who are the Ginting Group, are offering a cool $1 million if the vessel can be recovered. Don't expect this to be easy though. Accounts seem to suggest that the leader, Gangnam, who takes his name, comfortingly enough, from a native Korean death god, has at least 20 followers, hostages, explosives, and God knows what else on there. To make matters even worse, Gangnam has previous convictions for unlicensed cyber surgery, and that's likely going to lead to problems. But if you think you can do a quiet, speedy infiltration and not blow up a near $2 billion worth of liner, then by all means, go. For it. Micronesia has been having problems for some years now, and these are only getting worse as time goes on and the sea levels continue to rise. Whole nations, albeit of only around 1,000 people, have already disappeared. The latest island under threat is Aman Island. Now, Micronesia, paradoxically, is becoming incredibly wealthy as it loses islands, as libertarian groups and large corporations are buying up the atolls as they disappear beneath the waves to use them as bases upon which to build their own private islands, their own corporate nation states, and this is a pattern that is being repeated across the world in similar situations. Of course, there's little room for most Micronesians on these platforms, but it does pay them enough to resettle in the Micronesian diaspora that we're all so familiar with from the news. However, there are holdouts on Aman Island who are refusing to allow corporations to set down their foundations, ready to build their glorious future civilization of total corporate greed and no government oversight. Those same corporations are offering large amounts of money and future corporate favors, no doubt, if this hang-on set of rebels can be cleared from Aman Island. There's likely only a handful of them, lightly armed, but they do know the territory, and it's kind of a dick move. Dick move to evict someone from their ancestral land. But you probably don't care about that, and the fat green that you can earn for doing so will probably change your mind. It seems like the United Kingdom can't not be on fire. The Brexit riots have now bled over into NHS riots, as the Tory government has been pressing ahead with their plans to privatise the National Health Service as a prelude to the exploitation of that health service by America. How have they gone about this? Partial rollouts, starting in the north of England and Scotland, where people are already pissed off. Of course, anyone old enough to remember the poll tax riots knows how bad of an idea it is to do this kind of staged rollout, but it's not something you could really flip a switch over. People are now being asked, as a kind of initial way of going about things, to contribute hundreds, thousands of pounds towards operations and so on. While this has alleviated stress on the NHS, this is mostly because people are too busy rioting to keep their appointments and get the operations that they're being asked to pay for. As has been going on for some time, drawing short of deploying the military, the British government has instead opted to hire mercenary groups and private military companies, who in turn are hiring freelancers to make up the numbers. It's lucrative if you don't mind. Cracking a few skulls of people who just want to be able to get their ruptured skulls fixed for free. Goals. Back to Korea, but best Korea this time. North Korea cannot help but wants to tweak everyone's nipples constantly, all the time. Whether it's launching missiles, or bullish rhetoric, or just treating its own citizens like shit while going, there's nothing you can do about it, foolish Westerner. They just can't seem to help themselves. Besides missile launches this week, which suggests that their long-range capability of delivering nuclear weapons is improving year on year, they've also chosen to unveil a new artificial intelligence. God knows how many people had to starve for them to raise the funds for the hardware and the software of that. This is also an extremely worrying development because the AI that they have developed is based upon Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea, someone who is the eternal president already. So, albeit artificially and in a rather revisionist manner, North Korea has resurrected a dead man to continue their actions as premier of their nation. And for all that they have long claimed that their leaders have supernatural power, Here we have someone back from the dead who could more legitimately, perhaps, be seen as a god. And of course this is all happening against the background of the ongoing United Nations negotiations about an AI non-proliferation treaty. Can we trust North Korea to use this technology wisely or fairly? And does this mean that dictators are now impossible to knock off from their throne because they'll only come back in a digital form? Any overt actions are dangerous in this area, but if you think you can infiltrate North Korea, which is on double hard lockdown at the moment due to the coronavirus, and take out their AI before it gets hooked up to the internet or anything else so stupid, then there's plenty of intelligence agencies who are willing to pay through the nose for that. Goals